Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verses 11 to 20.
तेषानुकम्पार्थम् अहमज्ञानजं तमः नाशयाम्यात्मभावस्थः ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता। अर्जुन उवाच परं ब्रह्म परं धाम पवित्रं परमं भवान् पुरुषं शाश्वतं दिव्यम् आदिदेवमजं विभुम् आहुस्त्वामृषयः सर्वे देवर्षिर्नारदस्तथा असितो देवलो व्यासः स्वयं चैव ब्रवीषि मे सर्वमेतदृतं मन्ये यन्मां वदसि केशव न हि ते भगवन् व्यक्तिम् विदुर्देवान दानवाः स्वयमेवात्मनात्मानं वेत्थत्वं पुरुषोत्तम भूतभावन भूतेश देवदेव जगत्पते वक्तुमर्हस्य शेषेण दिव्या ह्यात्मविभूतयः याभिर्विभूतिभिर्लोकान् इमां स्वं व्याप्य तिष्ठसि कथं विद्यामहं योगिन् त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन् केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवन्मया विस्तरेणात्मनो योगम् विभूतिं च जनार्दन भूयः कथय तृप्तिर्हि शृण्वतो नास्ति मे मृतम्। श्रीभगवानुवाच हन्त ते कथयिष्यामि दिव्या ह्यात्मविभूतयः प्राधान्यतः कुरु श्रेष्ठः नास्त्यन्तो विस्तरस्य मे अहमात्मा गुडाकेश सर्वभूताशयस्थितः अहमादिश्च मध्यं च भूतानामन्त एव च।
Chandrasekhar, you cannot hear. Everybody else, can you hear? Can you hear?
We can hear very well, Janki ji.
Oh, okay. So you might have to log off and come back in, Chandrasekhar. Okay, so we were doing the 10th verse, where he said that he would give us Buddhi Yoga if we stayed, if we continued doing what we have to do, we will get that Buddhi Yoga, the union with the intellect. So what is it that we have to do? We have to be constantly united. Don't forget your goal. No matter what happens in life, don't forget what you're here to do. That should never go from our, I can't even say memory, from our attunement. Don't forget, anything that happens has to be attuned to that goal. And the worship, bhajatam, to worship means the effort, the action, the pursuit. No point saying, oh, I want to become very rich, and stay in bed all day. It makes no sense. Or I want to realize the self and I stay in bed all day. It makes no sense. That pursuit, what are you doing for it? Priti Purvakam, with Priti, with love. Now you can't tell somebody, this is why people, always say, okay, what goal should I, how should we have a goal, or what goal should I have? Nobody can tell you that. What you love is what you love. Who can tell you whether you should love it or not? It doesn't make sense, right? Can you say, should I love my daughter? Can you ask this question? Either you do or you don't. If you don't, you can't put love, and if you do, nobody can stop it. So what is it that you are most inspired towards? Something that's realistic, means you can achieve it, but with effort. Something that inspires you, that makes you think, yes, this is what makes my life worth living. I can go through life, right? Everybody is going through life. 99.9% of humans, like animals, are going through life on a day-to-day basis. At max, they can see a week or maybe a month. I have all this next month. That's about it. And my daughter's marriage in the next 2 months. That's about it. Nothing to life other than just going by it day by day. In school, in college, you can think in terms of, oh, I have to graduate. It's all very, very, what should I say? I don't know what word to use. Petty? It doesn't mean you don't have to graduate, but what's the vision? What are you doing this whole thing for? What is that encompassing thing that you believe is your mission in life? So if you know this, how can you not love it? How is that even possible? So what have you got to do at the 3 levels of personality? The intellect is attuned to whatever you want. The body is pursuing it, and the mind is loving it. And if you do this, dadami buddhi yogam tam, I will give tam to them. I will give buddhi yoga, the union, by which you will come to me. Mam upayantiti, by which you will come to me. If you work for that higher thing in life, everything in life unfolds. And you reach wherever you have to. You're determined. You know that's what you're doing. Everybody keeps asking me this question. Yesterday or day before, also somebody had come saying, am I destined for something? Are you destined for something means what? You will create your own destiny. All these people who think, they read in their horoscope, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Well, if you don't do it, you ain't getting it. Quite simple. So verse 10 told us, for those people who are constantly doing this thing, they will unfold the self within themselves. The self itself will help. How will the self help you? Not because God helps us in anything. God has left us free. He's not interfering in our life in any way. Then how is he helping? He's helping because that self is your original nature and it will pull you. It will pull you to that. And as long as you don't go there, you will be agitated. There is no two ways about it. You're being something you're not. And when you're being something you're not, you will be uncomfortable. So your original nature is pulling you, as it were. Don't take it like he's going to put in the work. He's not. You better put in the work yourself. You can't say, oh, okay, God will take care of me. No, God will take care of you. Can't take care of yourself. You don't deserve to have God take care of you. Don't carry on about God will take care of me. But the fact remains that our original nature, that who we really are, is not this restricted being. And as long as we force ourselves into this restricted cage, we feel uncomfortable and we want out. We don't know what is making us feel uncomfortable. We are foolish enough to go and attribute it to things that have got nothing to do with it. Discomfort. That pull from that comfort. He says, I will give you means that pull. Just imagine, now suppose somebody just puts you in a little cave. Like a little cage, you're just stuck in it. Then what makes you come out? You discomfort. Feeling that you're restricted. So in that sense, he says, I will give you. Don't misunderstand it. The cage says, I will give you that liberation, let us say, as an example. But I will give you. Means your discomfort, your strive for being yourself, for being comfortable, will take you there. And then it is like the river merges with the ocean. It's not like that. You're not going to find something. You're just going to be something. Nothing to find here. You just be your own self. Okay, so verse 11. Excuse me. Teshamevanukampartam ahamajnanajam tamaha nashayam yatmabhavastaha jnanadipena bhasvata teshamevanukampartam aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayam yatmabhavastaha jnanadipena bhasvata tesham evanukampartha. Tesham to them, eva, in this manner, anukampartham. Kampa means to shake, for some reason, to tremble. Kapna. Because of the prefix, you get this word compassion. Feel with another's agitation. Feel the pain that the other person goes through. Compassion. Out of compassion. Compassion is one of the highest virtues because we all feel our own pain. We all feel our own problems or whatever it is. We go through our life, whatever it is. How many of us are able to feel what someone else is going through? It's very, very, very interesting. Can you actually put yourself in another person's shoes and see what they are feeling from where they are? What do we do in life? We say, oh, you shouldn't feel like that. You should feel like that. You should do this. You should not do this. It is a height of self-centeredness. Literally self-centered. When we say somebody should or should not do something, we are looking at it from our own perspective. You tell me, is it correct that he shouts like that? When I stand in my position, it is very, very easy for me to say who should do what. But when I put myself in that person's position, then I begin to see how it is so difficult for that person to do it, or how easy it is for that person to do it. How many of us can do that? That is why having a goal is important in life. It doesn't even matter if, doesn't matter means it's better if you have a higher goal. But if you don't have a higher goal, you must have a goal at all. Like, I saw that this training they give us. When we're doing crowdfunding, they're going to give us training on how to go and tell people to support our cause. And I've seen even other salespeople and all. It's very interesting. If you are a salesperson and you have had training in sales, what is the thing that you're forced to do? I think nice training. I think everybody should have that training. If you want to sell something to somebody, okay, purely selfish thing. If you want to sell something to somebody, the thing you need to know is, what do you need to know?
How the customer is thinking?
Yeah. What does he want? What does he think? How is his life for him? So even if you have a very selfish goal, you're forced to put yourself in the other person's position. See things from their point of view, not your own. If you go to somebody and you say, see, even politicians, do they come to you and say, I need to be prime minister, I need to be chief minister? Do they say that? No. What do they say? They say that vote for me because I will make sure you get water or electricity or I don't know, whatever it is they're telling you. Is the capacity to put yourself in another person's shoes and look at life as it is for that person, not for you. So much, no? We say, oh, the servant shouldn't do this, the staff shouldn't do that. We have so many things. How is that person's life for you? You can't do that. You will never be successful in anything in life. And what will give you that is your own dedication to your own goal. Because if you want to achieve your goal, you will have to see things from other people's point. Now, when he trains us in that crowdfunding thing, we'll see. Notice, please, how important, how I'm sure the bottom line of that training is how we see it from their point. Pay attention. The Upanishad says all the Vedas are its limbs. All knowledges you can gain the self. Mukesh, please explain how can one be detached that is not troubled but yet compassionate? Is this possible? Because otherwise one gets involved and emotional. Please clarify. Where are you, Mukesh? As a question, please switch your video on so that at least I can see y'all. Okay, so you're right that when you have compassion, you feel the pains and joys of other people. Not necessarily just pain, even joy. If your neighbor gets a Mercedes and you are delighted. So you're doubling your joy, but also you could be doubling your pain. It's not necessary compassion has to do with the negative side. Because when it is to do with the negative side, then sometimes it becomes a pity, a sort of looking down on that person, like as if, all you poor, unhappy, miserable people, I am feeling so sorry for you. It becomes like a. So when we have compassion, we enjoy their joys, we suffer their sorrows. Now, this is something that your mind does. When your intellect loses its association with the goal, you get carried away with this. Like, for instance, you are going to work, whatever your work is, you're going there. On the way, you see an accident. So you call 911. Not 911, you're in the UK, right? Is it 911 in the UK also?
999.
999, okay. So you call 999. You do whatever you can over there. Now the question is, having played your part, can you just go to office and work? So why not? Because the mind tends to linger in that rather than allowing, what should I say, your goal to be pursued further. We may have to undertake at times actions which are not directly related to our goal. Like, you saw an accident on the road, somebody is bleeding, you can't say, I'm my goal, I'm going. I mean, in the sense, you may want to help. I'm not giving it as a rule that you have to, but you may want to help. But then having helped, you move on. So what will enable that is the strength of the intellect. So the mind must be soft enough to feel, and the intellect must be hard enough to govern. This is what we have to be as human beings. If the mind is not soft and doesn't feel, then we are hard-hearted. If the intellect is not hard to take the necessary decision, then we're just foolish. So human beings have to somehow poise themselves somewhere between these two things. Soft heart, hard intellect. Okay, so how does one not get involved and emotional? By the strength of the intellect, which really is remembering what are you doing. You cannot, suppose you see, like the poor, what are these refugees? You maybe run a business in the UK, excuse me. And then there's all these refugees, coming in from Ukraine or something, and it's very sad. I mean, suddenly you're living your life quite merrily, and for reasons that have got absolutely nothing to do with you, you are displaced, you have nowhere to go, suddenly your life is gone. You feel sorry for these people and you do what you can, if anything. But you can't get so carried away that you forgot what you're here to do in the first place. You can take a little detour, but remember it's a detour. Got it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so out of mere compassion, compassion is the capacity to see something from someone else's point of view. To have so much oneness with the person that you actually can understand what that person is going through. The opposite of it is to be so caught up in your own personality that you just can't see what anyone else is going through. Like a bull in the china shop. Have you noticed some people, suppose, like there's some really sad thing going on, and then people will walk into that room not knowing what happened, and something is going on. They don't grasp that looks like something has happened here. And they create chaos. Many men do that. They don't notice that their wife is angry, and then not having noticed that, then they face the consequences after some time. Because not being able to tune into what is the situation before you have done something. So there's a beautiful quality. It comes out of the heart's compassion, comes out of your growth, your spiritual growth, to be able to put yourself in somebody else's position. How is life from that person's perspective, not mine? And I'm not judgmental of anyone because I see it how they see it. Now, there's just explanation of compassion. Now, what the Lord says is, out of compassion, ajnanajam tamaha. Jnana, knowledge. Ajnana, no knowledge, ignorance. Ja, you remember what ja is? Anyone remembers what ja is? Ja refers to?
Born of.
Sorry, I didn't catch. What did you say?
Born out of.
Born of. Very good. So in Sanskrit, you can use all these short ways of talking. So you add the word ja to anything means born of that thing or from that thing. So like purvaja. So that means born earlier, purva, born earlier. Purvaja means your ancestors. So born earlier. All sorts of things. Anything you can just make up a word. Okay, you can say Mukeshaja. So when you say Mukeshaja, what would that mean?
Son of Mukesh.
Son of Mukesh, yeah. Okay, you can say
Padmaja.
Padmaja, okay. The born of the lotus. Right? So you just add the letter J and then you say that it is born of that. So Kshitija, whatever.
So Girija.
Girija, very good. The A comes because it's feminine. Giri means mountain. Ja means born. So born of the mountain. Girija. So Giri, mountain. Ja, born of. Ja, signifying female. So therefore, Parvati, son of Himalayas. So this is the easy way. This is how Sanskrit uses the short forms and therefore can create so many words. And therefore poetically a very rich language. So Ajnanajam. That means born from Ajnana. What has been born from Ajnana? Tama, darkness. The darkness in our hearts and the darkness in our heads. So he says, I will remove the darkness which is born of ignorance because of compassion. The big question in everybody's mind, why would God help you? God is totally blissful, right? So why would he help you? Why does the Guru help us? The Guru is come. Why does Buddha help us? Why does Muhammad or Krishna or anyone? Why do they help us? Why would they? They are already completely happy. They have nothing to gain and nothing to lose. Why are they doing it?
Out of compassion?
Yeah. So there's no answer to that question. But there is no reason. Imagine a person knows that this whole world is illusion. Why would he go and help anyone in that illusion? So there's no reason. Then why does he do it? A borrowed reason is compassion. He can see how it feels to us. He knows it's an illusion. He knows there is nothing else. But we don't know. We suffer it. So it's actually not a correct answer to say I do it out of compassion because it doesn't. But what other reason will you give? You can't give a desire to help because if you give a desire to help, then the person has a desire. What other reason will you say? So it's really a borrowed term. But you can sort of understand it if you project from what we have to do. It is a style, in fact, the style of the scriptures. When they tell us what the great people do, it's really an indication of what we are supposed to do, because they don't do it like that. Like, for instance, suppose you were to tell a child, okay, you make lots of money, you grow up and you study hard and you make lots of money. And the child says, well, I do with lots of money. He doesn't understand the concept of money. So what will you say? Oh, you'll have so much money, you can buy all the chocolates and you can buy all the toys. So how will he define money? That you can buy lots of chocolates and lots of toys. Because that's all he can think of. He can't understand. You can't tell him you can buy real estate. He won't know what you're talking about. So what will you tell him in terms of his chocolates and his toys? So similarly, when the great sages explain to us, they talk in terms of what we can understand or what we should aspire to. We have to aspire for the compassion. There's no question of compassion as far as they are concerned. So, nashayami, atma bhavastaha. I will destroy. Atma bhavastaha. Staha means living there. That's the stan. What is the stan? Stan of what? This tama. This darkness. I will destroy that darkness dwelling in the self. How? Jnanadipena bhasvata. By the shining lamp of wisdom. Jnanadeepa. Jnanadeepa, knowledge is always associated with light because it lights up your path. When you have knowledge, you've understood it. It lights up the path. You begin to understand what should be done and what should not be done. So he says, I dispel the darkness. More problems for us. Why? He dispels the darkness. All the work we have to do. What is the work we have to do? We prepared the body, we prepared the mind, we prepared the intellect. Now this person is ready for realization. Okay, remember stage 1, he was extroverted, he had to do something. Stage 2, he became introverted. Now he's come to realization and God says, I'm gonna just dispel this whole darkness. I'm going to dispel and all is wrong. He's not dispelling anything. What does it mean? It means, why does God say that he will help when he has no intention of helping? Is he faking us? Yes, in a sense, he's faking us because he's not helping at all. So then what is he saying all the time? When we say all the time, across the board, okay, all scriptures will tell you, God will help, God will help, God will help. Not help. Get used to the fact that you're in charge of your life. Then what is this? I will dispel the darkness. This is a deeply philosophical concept which has been terribly pettified. Pettified, there's no such word, sorry, but made terribly petty. When God says I do it, what it means is God will not give you enlightenment. The self doesn't give us enlightenment. And why this claim? Because, and listen to this carefully because it's a very important concept, because finite efforts cannot get us the infinite. We cannot achieve self-realization. Why not? Self is infinite. We all are finite beings. How is this finite being supposed to get the infinite? It's not possible. Then does that mean we cannot realize? No, of course we can realize. Does that mean somebody else is doing the work for us? No, we have to do the work ourselves. But no matter how much work you do, you cannot achieve that. Because the finite cannot achieve the infinite. Then what is our work supposed to do? Finite efforts remove finite barriers. Finite efforts remove finite barriers. The self that is there will come forth, will be revealed to us when you have removed the finite barrier that you yourself have put up. Okay, it's a little difficult concept, so let us take it with an example. The sun is immense, right? There is nothing a human being can do to get the sun. Can't be done. Can you do anything to get the sun? But suppose you have built a roof over your head, then you can remove the roof. The roof that you built, you can remove, and the sun, which is always there, will become available. Finite efforts cannot bring the infinite, but the infinite is always there, and our finite efforts can remove the finite barrier that we have faced. Just as our efforts can remove the roof that we have put over our head and therefore get us the sun. But you didn't actually get the sun because the sun was always there. And if had the sun decided to go take a walk, then there is nothing you can do to bring him back.
Unfortunately, not much sun in UK.
Sorry?
Unfortunately, there's not much sun in the UK.
I can't hear you. Is this mine? Let me see if I have to increase my volume. Okay, can you say it again?
No, I'm just saying there's not much sun in the UK anyway.
No. But the point is that if you want to get the sun, there is nothing you can do about it. If you if you have yourself put a roof over your head, you can remove that roof. That's all you can do. So he says, I will give it to you so that you understand that your efforts do not bring the infinite. I hope that's clear. Here's another example. Suppose there is a brass vessel. The brass vessel has got tarnished, it's gone black. So what do? You take some brasso and you rub it. And you rub it and you scrub it and you clean it. And then what happens? That brass vessel becomes shiny again. Where did that shine come from? It came from the vessel itself. You were not adding a shine. You were only removing the tarnish. Because if you say, no, that shine came from brasso, then you go rub brasso on your sofa and see if it will shine. Can it shine? Brasso is not causing the shine. What is brasso doing? It is removing the tarnish on the metal. Similarly, our efforts can remove the nonsense that we have put. Our finite efforts can remove our desires. What remains is the self. So therefore, he says, I will give in the sense that you cannot get it. You cannot gain the Lord. The Lord's grace is there. You can only remove the barrier. Okay. So out of mere compassion for them, dwelling as self, I dispel the darkness born of ignorance by the shining lamp of wisdom. Now, what is the shining lamp of wisdom? It is the higher and higher knowledge. When will our agitations go away? Only when we have a higher knowledge. When do all the agitations of our childhood world go away? When we become a teenager. When do the agitations of teenage life go away? When we become an adult. When do the agitations of adult life go away? Never, because we don't grow beyond that. The first part of our journey, nature takes care of. But the latter part of our journey is left to us. Now you manage. We brought you to adulthood. Now you manage your affairs. Now we don't manage our affairs, so all the agitations. But when will the agitations of adult life go away? When we know higher and better, when we elevate ourselves to higher levels. Like, for instance, suppose Shivani has a problem with, Mimi is a problem, Shivani. Suppose you have a problem with, oh, I don't like my hair, for instance. Okay. I don't like my hair. It's too straight, it's too curly, it's too black, it's too brown, it's too gray. Some story we have. Now my question to you is, while we are so agitated with the state of our hair, it's a bad hair day, it's not working, whatever. Do you think that bothers Gandhi? Does Gandhi ever go through a bad hair day? Does he go to the whatever parliament in London thinking, oh no, today my hair is really not looking so good and I have a speech in parliament? Does he think like that? Why does he not think like that? Why does he not have a problem with his hair? Because whatever problems he has are to do with
The country.
the country. That's all he has a problem. That's where his problems lie. Why do his problems lie there? Because his desires lie there. So unless we grow up, those things will agitate us. It's a given. So as we grow to higher and higher things, now Gandhi is all concerned with the country and all the problems of the country and X, Y, and Z and all whatever he has. When will he lose all these problems?
When he thinks higher.
Yeah.
When he has bigger problems.
Yeah. When he realizes himself, let's just jump all the way there. If he's a realized soul, will he have problems with reference to the country or humanity or anything?
No.
Nothing. So when we grow up, these agitations go away. This growing up is what he calls knowledge. It is nothing to do with the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita or the Bible or the Quran. It's got nothing to do with the knowledge that you read in the books. It's not about how many years you've been in Vedanta. So many people like to tell me, oh, I've been studying this for many years. How does that even matter? Either you have grown up or you haven't grown up. If you haven't grown up, you will be tortured. If you have grown up, your torture will be less. Now, how will you grow up? It's not because, oh, I should grow up, I should grow up. Do children grow up because they're saying, I should grow up, I should grow up? You grow up like that. On a daily basis, are you doing whatever it takes to take you to the next level? Are you doing it? Suppose you only come to Sunday class. Are you going to grow up as a consequence of attending Sunday class? Max, that'll happen, a nice big swollen head. Oh, why I go to my class? I know all about the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so what? Somebody knows engineering, somebody knows mathematics, you know Bhagavad Gita. So what? What's the difference? Unless you grow up, nothing's happening. And to grow up, are you doing what it takes? Why I've studied the Gita, now I want to study the Ramayana. Madhouse. If you studied the Gita, you don't need to study anything else. I don't mean any, Gita is the highest text. I mean any text you have studied. You studied the Quran, you studied the Bible, you studied the Dhammapada, you studied the Old Testament. Don't study anything, it doesn't matter. Once you get it, you got it. Don't get it. You can have a chip on your shoulder about being a religious person, a spiritual person, or a scholar in religiosity. Very, very good. It's like a young child saying he has done a PhD in being an adult. Ray, what are you talking? So we have to grow up. And that's what he's talking about. By the shining lamp of wisdom. That's the knowledge. Not the knowledge that we have, but the lamp of wisdom. Jnana Deepena. By that knowledge will the ignorance, when we have knowledge of the higher, the ignorance of the lower is removed. When the ignorance of the lower is removed, the agitations of the lower are removed. So I hope these three verses have been clear. What you do as an extrovert, what you do as an introvert, and finally realization, which comes not as a result of our effort, but as a result of the self being there. Our effort only removes the finite desires which we have superimposed upon. It's like, suppose, like if I put this finger in front of my eye and I can't see anything, right? I remove my finger. I can do this much. But if there's nothing here, what can I see? I can't bring all these things, right? So a spiritual sadhana is equivalent to that. Just removing what you have put. It is not getting in. Okay, clear? So now Arjuna gets very, very inspired. He's still not ready for any action, but he's very inspired. So when you're inspired and not ready for action, what happens is what is going to be in the next few verses. Verse 12. Verses 12 and 13 are read together. Arjuna uvacha param brahma param dhama pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashwatam divyam adidevam vibhum ahustvam rushayah sarve devarshi naradastatha asito devalo vyasaha swayam chaiva bhavishi me. Arjuna uvacha param brahma param dhama pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashwatam divyam adidevamajam vibhum ahustvam rushayah sarve devarshi naradastatha asito devalo vyasaha swayam chaiva bravishi me. Arjuna uvacha. Arjuna said, param brahma param dhamam pavitram paramam bhavan. Bhavan means you. It's the Tvam is the familiar form of you, and Bhavan is the more respectful form of you. So he said, remember he's his friend, right? So normally he was saying Tvam and all earlier. He was saying Tu. Now he's gone to Up. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma. You are that supreme Brahman. You are that supreme Dhamma, the supreme abode. Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. You are the supreme Paramam, supreme. Para is the supreme. You are the supreme Pavitram, the supreme purifier. Bhavan Purusham Shashwatam. You are that supreme being. Divyam, divine. Adi Devam, primeval. before everything. Ajam. Ja, born. Aja, not born. You are that unborn, the Vibhum, the all-pervading. You can see that Arjuna is very inspired with the knowledge that he has got. Ahus Twam Rishaya Sarve. All the Rishaya, all the Rishis, they call you this, they say all this about you. Devarshi, Naradaha. The Devarshi Narad, a very famous divine sage, he says so. Asita says so. Devala says so. Vyasa says so. Swayam Bravishime. You yourself say so. Not only is everybody saying it, but you're also saying it. You are that final goal. You are that final abode. You are the supreme purifier. You are all these great things. All the great people have said so. And you yourself have said so. Because he's heard all this in the past. And now it's suddenly occurring to him what this thing is supposed to mean. So he is the supreme Brahma. Supreme Brahma means you're the finality of human existence. You're the mission of human existence. You are that abode. All experiences rest in the self. Just as all the dreams rest in the waker's mind. However many dreams you come up with, all of it will rest in your mind. Whatever comes and goes, all in the self. You are the supreme purifier. You are the ultimate cleanup drive. Why are you the supreme purifier? Because the thought of the self removes all other thoughts. When you say something is a purifier, what is pure? Pure means that there is nothing else. If you say this is pure gold, it means it is only gold. If you say this is pure water, then you mean it is only water. So pure something means that only that exists. So you are the supreme purifier. The thought of the self removes all other thoughts and itself. And therefore all that is left is the self. How can anything be purer than that? The thought of the self creates the thought of oneness amongst us all. You know that you are the self, and you know that everyone else is the self. Then what happens? There is no otherness, there is nothing else. We all merge into that oneness. So you displace all other impurities. You are eternal. That means you existed before time. Time was born at the second experience, just as distance is born at the second point. At this point, suppose there's a point, there's no distance. Now, when will distance be born? When can we talk of distance? When you put a second point, right? So when is distance born? When a second point comes. So this gap becomes distance. If there's only one experience, there's no time. But the moment the second experience comes, the concept of time is born. If you're in deep sleep, same thing, exactly the same experience. No, nothing, there's no time. But the moment there is a second experience, you feel time. So, you are eternal, means you are born before time. Time came at the second experience, but you were there even at the first experience. You were there before the first experience. Therefore, you're eternal. You are a divine being. Divine being means different from our body mind. Different from anything that I have perceived or felt or thought. You are that transcendental reality. You are unborn. What is birth? Birth is always accompanied by death. Anything that is born must die. This is the law. Anything that starts must end. If the class starts at 10:30, it must end at 11:30. Anything that starts must end. Anything that's born must die. But you are unborn. That means there is no end. There is no birth, there is no death, means there is no change. You are all pervading, like the sun's rays. You are everywhere. What does that mean? Think about this. Wherever the body is, the mind is there. Wherever the mind is, intellect can be there. So the most restricted is the physical body, right? The mind will exist in the body and it can also think of any other thing. The intellect can go wherever the mind goes and it can go to other things. But the self is everywhere. In the Upanishad, he calls it the fastest runner. Very, shocking, fastest runner. When you first read these ideas, you're like, what? Fastest runner? But think of it like this. Who is the fastest runner? One who wins the race. So if you have a race with Brahman, Brahman will always win. Why? Because by the time you reach any spot, Brahman is already there. So he's the fastest runner. You say, okay, I'll run very fast and I'll outrun him. You can't, because wherever you reach to the outer extent of the universe, he's already there. So he's the fastest runner. Fastest runner therefore means he is
All pervading.
All pervading.
Omnipresent.
He is all pervading. There is no place you can go where he is not already. And then he has mentioned the various sages, because when we are young in our path, we need the, what should I say? We need the support of authority. So he is talking about all the authorities. Narad, everybody knows Narad Muni. So he says, Narada has said this, Asito, Devalo, and Vyasaha. Vyasaha is the author of this text itself. Vyasa has said this, and you yourself have said it. So all the authorities have said it, and now I'm beginning to see that this is true. This is a stage in the spiritual journey where you find that, oh my God, everything that is being said is true. And you get so carried away at that point that you want to go and talk about it. Because you say, oh, it's true, it's true, it's true. This is different from real spiritual growth, because
You focus on listening.
Can't hear you, Reshma.
Because then you listen more.
Because you listen. Yeah, okay, you can say that. But growth means you become that person, which is different from being inspired by the idea. Being inspired by the idea is step one. When are we going to become that? So we are all in this class because we are inspired by the idea. But now we have to put in the work to become it. Okay, oh, is there an announcement?